Open the door!
Hear the voice.
Open the door, this is gonna get breached! It's open it! Open it now!
What's he saying? I can't hear him.
He said run off the back door or something.
Hold on. Let me see your hands. Corey, come out, Corey. Come out. Come out. Sir, come on out.
All right. The babies are in here.
Who else is in here?
Door to go to the door, and he rushes to the door and opens it up and lets them out. He goes out and he lets them out. So he's in the hallway, and I step from in between them to go help him to help the rest of the kids into the hallway, and I was gonna go tell him to take the kids to the car. And that's when I heard the gunshots.
Yeah, Kim and Ted, Corey Williams is now charged in the shooting death of his father. The shooting happened last week, and Williams was in court today. He says he picked up a gun in self-defense.
This is Corey Williams Jr., an 18-year-old from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who walked into his father's apartment on a Wednesday afternoon to collect his younger siblings and walked out, having shot that same father more than 5 times. But whether he had any other choice is the question that kept this case out of a courtroom entirely. Now, to understand how something like this even happens, you have to go back further than July 2nd, 2025, when the incident happened. You have to go back to the kind of family situation that was already under a lot of pressure before anyone even touched a gun, because nothing about what happened that day came out of nowhere. Corey Williams Sr. was 47 years old, and he lived in Milwaukee's North Side at an apartment on West Atkinson Avenue. He and a woman named Kimberly had children together, several of them, and by the time we get to the summer of 2025, that relationship had been over for a long time, and things between them were not good. There was a history of domestic violence between the two of them. Kimberly would later tell detectives that she and Senior had a documented history of physical abuse, and that is the reason she did not go anywhere near him alone after they split. She said that any time she had to deal with him, she made sure she had people with her, just so things would not escalate into something physical.
He was asking me to do something, I refused, and he just kicked me out.
Okay. Do you remember what he was asking you to do?
He was telling me to tell my mother something. And I refused, and he kicked me out the same night.
Do you remember what he wanted you to tell your mom?
No.
Why did you guys go over there yesterday?
My mother was trying to get them. She was trying to get like a police escort, and they told her to go down there and try and grab them first. Before she called them for an escort. But she called them once. They told her to go there and try to grab them. And if he denied her, grabbing them, she'd step out and call them again. She'd get a police escort.
And your mom wanted to pick up all the rest of the kids that were over there. So besides your older sister and you, the rest of the kids were there.
Yeah.
And there was a lot they still had to deal with because of the kids. At some point before July of 2025, Kimberly was evicted from wherever she had been staying, and because of that, Senior had stepped in and was taking care of several of their children at his apartment. So the kids were basically split up, some staying with their dad, some going back and forth between relatives and wherever Kimberly was at the time. It was already a messy situation before anything went wrong. Now, the oldest of those kids, Corey Williams Jr., had been living full-time with his father at that same apartment, but about 2 weeks before July 2nd, his dad put him out. The record does not tell us exactly why that happened or what was said when it did, but what we know is that Jr. ended up moving in with his sister after that, while his younger siblings stayed behind in Senior's apartment. He was 18 years old, freshly out of his father's home with nowhere else to go, and his little brothers and sisters were still in that building. So when July 2nd came around, the whole point of going back was just to collect the kids. Kimberly told detectives that on the morning of July 2nd, she received some kind of call about a false signature tied to a court matter. That call made her feel like she needed to go get her children from Senior's apartment right away.
Find out he did not shoot him one time, he shot him 10 times.
Wednesday, a web of crime scene tape closed off this apartment building at 11th and Atkinson. Milwaukee police have not confirmed the relationship between the victim and suspect, only saying they are seeking a known suspect and the shooting is domestic violence related.
So I was in the back on my way towards here, and I heard like 5 shots. They said 6 had already ran off.
Stiegel says her father, uncle, and brother have apartments in the building. And recently, she said all of her brother's children moved in with him.
The kids had to endure their brother killing their dad. If they know your name, look, Corey, you need to turn yourself in, baby. I don't know, maybe you can get some mental help. But you left your sisters and brothers, they don't need mental help.
She is urging her nephew to do the right thing as her family struggles to understand how this could have happened.
Whatever he told him no, or whatever he told him he should not did, it did not mean kill your daddy.
But she was not going over there by herself. She knew how those interactions with Senior could go, so she called Junior and asked him to come with her, along with his brother. Kimberly was not sending her son in as muscle or looking to start anything. She just wanted someone there so that if Senior tried to get physical with her, there would be people around to calm it down before it got out of hand. When they first arrived at the apartment, Senior was not even home yet, so they went inside and started gathering the kids' things. Junior was packing a bag, putting in his laptop and some clothes, things he had left behind when he got kicked out. But when Senior came through that front door and found Kimberly and his kids in his apartment, the situation changed fast. Senior and Kimberly started arguing, and Junior stepped in and told his father to move out of the way and let them leave. That was the moment things stopped being an argument and became something a lot more dangerous. Senior grabbed Junior by the collar and started forcing him around the room, and the whole time he was doing this, he was holding a pistol in his hand and telling Junior to have some respect and shut his mouth. Kimberly and the other brother were both in that room watching this happen, and they tried to physically get between them to break it up, but they could not stop it. Senior threw Junior onto a recliner and then forced him toward the dining room table and pushed him down across it. And right there on that table, within reach, was a second gun.
So did you bring a gunshot there? I heard still remember gunshots. You see, that's me living here on what she said.
Well, the other kid lives here, I think. His son and the mom, they just got evicted, according to the police.
Probably would.
You know, they got evicted from somewhere else in Cole. And now eventually they were for
fresh air for a minute.
Well, he was carrying luggage out with him.
Always.
The 18 years. But then he said there was like 5 to 6 other kids with him.
Oh, that's weird. That's really weird.
So now the question is, but he said the grandson said he shot him.
That she said, the neighbor here said the kids came up here and I guess there was something. She didn't hear her yelling or shouting, but he came up to visit. The other kids came up to visit, but they'd been gone. She heard 6 shots and then she just had it for cover.
Huh. That's you.
So the caller is probably the one driving.
Caller's grandpa.
Oh, it was a grandma. It was
Grandpa. Tell me.
Kimberly or the other Corey got evicted. They came over here.
Suppose it was here, I don't know.
When he probably said no, I have room, they probably got rid of that.
Awesome. We don't know. We don't know the reason. But says that when his grandson's running out, he says that he shot.
Junior grabbed it and opened fire. He told detectives later that he was not even counting shots in that moment, he was just reacting. But he knew it was more than 5 times. Corey Williams Sr. was hit in his left arm, his shoulder, his chest, his abdomen, and his groin. He went down in that living room and he did not get back up. By the time anybody got to that apartment, there was nothing left to do for him. A 9mm handgun was found on the floor near Senior's body, which would become one of the most important details in this whole case when it went to court. We will get into all of that, but first, let's talk about what happened the moment those shots stopped. The first call Milwaukee police received about what had happened in that apartment came in at around 2:47 in the afternoon, and it did not come from a detective or an anonymous tip. It came from Corey Jr.'s own grandmother, who was in the building and called 911 and told them plainly what had just happened. Meanwhile, the grandfather, who had gone to the store with Senior earlier in the day and come back home to sleep, was woken up by the sound of gunfire coming from somewhere above him in the building. He made it out to the stairwell and found Kimberly and her children already coming down the stairs from Senior's floor. Kimberly was out there crying, terrified about what was about to happen to her son. She told the grandfather right there on those stairs that she did not want her kid going to jail, and then she told him Junior was the one who shot Senior. The grandfather turned and looked at Junior, who was standing right there, and asked him directly what had happened. And Junior did not try to lie about it or run or build some kind of story on the spot. He just told his grandfather plainly, "I shot him." When officers arrived at the scene, they found Senior dead on the floor with multiple gunshot wounds and the 9mm pistol lying near his body. Junior was not hard to find because he hadn't really gone anywhere. He was located a few hours later at around 5:47 that same evening at a nearby apartment by Milwaukee police and U.S. Marshals. He came out without any kind of struggle or resistance and was taken into custody.
Got that call too from like the court people, and I'm like, I just want you guys to come down there with me for safety reasons. But I took my sons with me for safety just in case, because me and Corey has a history of domestic violence. Just in case he decided
Which is reported?
Yeah, just in case he decided to want to put his hands on me, I just have my sons with me to, you know, help de-escalate things.
Did you tell him what those incidents were? Yesterday, did you go into detail about what those were or not?
No,
we didn't. Okay. And then you can if you want, or you don't have to. Was it physical or just,
Yeah, like so far as with Corey with me, it was physical.
So what was the trigger point? What made
the trigger point was like when me and Corey Sr. was talking in a conversation, and then Corey Jr. stepped in and told him like pertaining like, let us go. It was like something in that matter, like let us go, move out the way, let us go. And then after that, that's when them two, they started getting into it and getting into a tussle, and then I had to step into them like twice to break it up.
They got into a tussle, okay.
Yeah.
Who's all in the apartment when the arguings occur?
It's everybody, and then I had my little ones go out into the hallway.
Where's the son? I got the gun right here. We got a firearm here. We got a firearm right here. Meanwhile, the grandfather, who had gone to the store with Senior earlier in the day and come back home to sleep, was woken up by the sound of gunfire coming from somewhere above him in the building. He made it out to the stairwell and found Kimberly and her children already coming down the stairs from Senior's floor. Kimberly was out there crying, terrified about what was about to happen to her son. She told the grandfather right there on those stairs that she did not want her kid going to jail, and then she told him Junior was the one who shot Senior. The grandfather turned and looked at Junior, who was standing right there, and he asked him directly what had happened. And Junior did not try to lie about it or run or build some kind of story on the spot. He just told his grandfather plainly, "I shot him." When officers arrived at the scene, they found Senior dead on the floor with multiple gunshot wounds and the 9mm pistol lying near his body. Junior was not hard to find because he had not really gone anywhere. He was located a few hours later at around 5:47 that same evening at a nearby apartment by Milwaukee police and U.S. Marshals. He came out without any kind of struggle or resistance and was taken into custody. Corey Williams, this is the Milwaukee police. Open the door. Let me see your hands. Corey, come out. Corey, come out. Come out. Sir, come on out. All right. The babies are in here. We're all sitting here. Corey Williams Jr. is taken into custody. At first, Junior was not talking. When detectives asked if he was willing to answer questions, he declined and they took him back to holding.
Yeah. He came in, like through the front door. I was grabbing my stuff, putting it in a suitcase, like my computer and my clothes. He came in, and him and I started to argue. Then I kind of butted in and just told him to like move around, let us leave. He started tussling me at me like right here. He was throwing me around. And at this point, he had a gun in his hand.
And what kind of things was he saying to you when this was going on?
I don't really remember that. He was cussing at me, I know that. Telling me to have respect
And where's everyone else when this is going on?
They're right there. They're next to me. They're trying to like pull his hand off my collar.
So everyone was in the living room?
Yeah.
When you said throwing you around, can you kind of describe how that was?
Like flinging me around. Like one hand, apparently like, not like picking me up, but like flinging me around.
Okay.
Like,
you know what happens then?
So they went and spoke to Kimberly instead. She came in and sat down with detectives and walked them through the whole lead-up, how she had gotten that call about the false signature that morning, how she had contacted Junior and asked him to come with her, how she had gone there just to collect the children, and how the argument started the moment Senior came home. Since Corey's not talking, detectives interview someone close to him, his mom, Kimberly. Realizing they have these rights, are you now willing to answer questions or make a statement? Is that okay if we talk to you? She told them about the history of domestic violence, about why she never went to see Senior alone, and she described watching the fight between Junior and his father escalate before she had even gotten all the younger kids out of the room and into the hallway. Kimberly told detectives she was already standing in the hallway with one of her sons when she heard the shots. I took my sons with me for safety, just in case, because me and Corey has a history of domestic violence. Just in case he decided to want to put his hands on me, I just have my sons with me to help de-escalate things. The trigger point was when me and Corey Sr. was talking in a conversation. Then Corey Jr. stepped in and told him, pertaining like let us go. And then after that, that's when them two, they started getting into it and getting into a tussle. And then I had to step into them like twice to break it up. And that's when I heard the gunshots. That's when I heard it. Me and Aiden was both in the hallway. After Kimberly's interview, detectives went back to Junior, and this time he agreed to talk. He walked them through the entire thing, starting from when he got kicked out 2 weeks before.
Swings me around to the dining room, like the dining room kitchen table. Then he swings me over there and there's...
I know this is really tough, man. I can't even put myself in your shoes.
He swings me over to the table. And there's a firearm on the table. Or a gun. Yeah, I grab it and I shoot him.
Corey admits to shooting his father during an alleged altercation, but detectives continue digging for more answers.
What happened after that?
We left. Then after like my mother called the police. Then we left.
Did your siblings go with you?
Like to the car?
Yep.
They went the moment it went down, like they left, like they ran.
Okay. Do you remember who drove?
Mother.
Okay. After you shot the weapon, what did your dad do?
He fell on me.
Okay. Did he say anything?
No.
And then, do you think, when you were done shooting it, do you think it was empty?
I don't remember. Yeah, probably.
Now, detectives confront Corey Jr. with some new information that they say
through why they came to the apartment that day, through the argument, the physical confrontation, and the shooting itself. Now, for the first time, Corey's walking detectives through what he says happened inside the apartment. When he came in right through the front door. I was grabbing my stuff, putting it in a suitcase like my computer and my clothes. He came in, and then my mom started to argue, and I kind of butted in and just told him to like move around, let us leave. He started touching me, he had me like right here, he was throwing me around, and at this point, he had a gun in his hand. He swings me over to the table, there's a firearm on the table or a gun. I grab it and I shoot him. Detectives pushed back on a few things during that interview. They asked him directly whether his father actually had the gun in a threatening way at the exact moment Junior started shooting, because that detail mattered a lot for how the case would be charged. Junior's answer was honest, but complicated. He said he had seen the gun in his father's hand at the start of the altercation, when Senior first grabbed him by the shirt, but by the time he was at the table and reaching for the second weapon, he wasn't 100% sure where Senior's gun was or whether it was still raised. He told them he knew it was there, and that was enough for him in that moment. Did he still have a gun in his hand? I didn't see that. So you're not sure if he had a gun in his hand at the time? No, I'm not sure. I guess the biggest thing is, why did you shoot? He was attacking me. That dude was like 300 pounds. I did see him with the gun. When you started firing? No. When he first had the pull on my shirt, I saw him with the gun. When I was by the table, he had his arm like this. So at that point, you didn't see it, but I knew it was there. Yeah. That uncertainty was going to be the heart of everything that came next. Milwaukee County prosecutors charged Junior with second-degree reckless homicide with use of a dangerous weapon.
All right, it was scheduled today for a plea and sentencing. I don't believe that's happening. I had a conversation with lawyers briefly off the record. Can the state just make a record on this, please?
Yes, Judge. There are two co-defendants in this case. Both are in front of Your Honor next week. But in speaking with counsel, I believe he wants to see how those two cases seem to shake out, at least in the short term, before we go forward with this case. I don't think that's unreasonable based off the facts presented. So I think counsel and I are both requesting a status or at least another hearing date set out after that date.
That's 100% right.
45 days or more than that?
I think that'd be fair to accommodate, as long as we can hopefully set the other cases, if they're in resolution posture, for roughly 30 days.
All right, we'll set it 45 to 60 days. The defendant's in custody. He can appear by Zoom at the next date as long as we know where he is.
Correct. Thank you.
Next court date, March 26th at 1:30 for status.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend, everyone in Branch 12.
You too.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go get something to eat and then I'll be back. You want to look at me?
Judge, can I just tell you something before I go?
His bond was set to $10,000 cash with a condition of no weapons access, and he pleaded not guilty. Both sides acknowledged from the start that Junior had no prior criminal record whatsoever, not a single charge in his history. And during his first court appearance, even the commissioner handling the bail hearing stopped and said publicly that the question of whether Senior actually had a gun in a threatening way was something that needed to be answered, because it would make all the difference in how this case played out. The case was supposed to go to trial, and after the charges came down in July of 2025, both sides were gearing up for a full courtroom fight. But as the months passed and the evidence got laid out on both sides, something shifted. And by February of 2026, the two sides had quietly reached an agreement instead. On February 12, 2026, Corey Williams Jr. appeared in Milwaukee County Circuit Court and entered a guilty plea, but not to the original charge. The prosecution had agreed to reduce the charge from second-degree reckless homicide all the way down to homicide by negligent handling of a dangerous weapon. That is a significant step down in terms of what the law says about what happened. Reckless homicide in Wisconsin means you were aware your actions created a serious risk of someone dying and you did it anyway. Negligent handling means the gun was mishandled in a way that caused a death, but without proving that level of conscious intent or recklessness. It's a lower charge, which means a very different kind of sentencing range. Judge David Swanson presided over the case and sentenced Junior to between 5 and 8 years in state prison. But here's the part that got people talking. That prison sentence was stayed immediately. What that means is the judge handed it down and then suspended it on the spot, meaning Junior wouldn't actually go to prison as long as he followed the conditions set by the court. Instead, he was placed on 5 years of probation, with rules that included no firearms and no alcohol or non-prescription drugs. He walked out of that courtroom a free man. Now, there's genuinely 2 ways to look at what that outcome means, and both of them are worth sitting with for a second. The first way is the most obvious one. A man is dead. He was shot more than 5 times inside his own home, and the person who pulled the trigger received probation and walked out of court the same day. If you believe that any homicide has to result in real prison time, then this outcome is going to feel completely wrong regardless of the circumstances around it.
Corey, open the door!
Voice, heard voice.
Open the door, this is gonna get breached! It's open it! Open it now!
What's he saying? What's he saying? I can't hear him.
He said run off the back door or something.
Hold on, let me see your hands. Corey, come out, Corey. Come out. Come out. Sir, come on out.
The babies are in here.
Who else is in here? Who else is in here?
Police identify the suspect seen here as Corey D. Williams, the teen suspected of killing his father hours earlier.
About the babies, can I get my sister? Can I get my sister? Can I get my sister? Yes, all right. Can I please? Hey, let me see your hand!
Next, Corey Jr. is escorted to the police station, where detectives have plenty of questions for him.
So who all lives in that building off of 11th and Atkinson?
It was my father, and then for a little bit it was my little sisters.
Did you stay over there yourself?
Because a father is gone, his children are growing up without him, and the person responsible for that is back out in the world. That's a hard thing to sit with no matter what side you land on. But the second way to look at it is to look at what the evidence actually showed and what the legal system has to work with when it's given a situation like this one. Junior had no criminal history going into this. He wasn't someone who had been building towards violence. He went to the apartment to get his little brothers and sisters, not to hurt anyone. When the confrontation happened, it was Senior who grabbed him first with a gun already in his hand. The mother and another brother both witnessed the struggle, and both tried to physically stop it. The shooting happened in the middle of an active fight where Junior, by every account, including his own, believed he was about to be seriously hurt by a much larger man who was armed. Prosecutors themselves acknowledged in their filings that it wasn't entirely clear whether Senior was using his gun in an active, threatening way at the exact moment Junior grabbed the second weapon and fired. And that uncertainty, when you're the prosecution, is a serious problem. Because if you take this to a full jury trial on a reckless homicide charge, and the defense puts the mother and brother on the stand to describe what they saw, and the jury hears that there was a gun next to Senior's body, and they hear about the documented history of domestic violence in that household, there's a real chance that jury comes back with an acquittal, and then you have nothing. So the prosecution made a calculation, reduced the charge to something they could actually prove beyond doubt, and got a guilty plea instead of gambling on a trial where the outcome was far from certain. What Junior still has on his record is a felony conviction. He's a convicted felon for the rest of his life and cannot legally own a firearm. He's on supervised probation for 5 years, and the moment he violates any of those terms, that stayed prison sentence of 5 to 8 years comes off the shelf and becomes very real, very fast. So it's not like he got away clean, but it's also nothing close to what most people picture when they hear that an 18-year-old shot his own father 5 or more times. Corey Williams Sr. was 47 years old when he died, and he left behind a group of kids who were now growing up without his father. Whatever happened in that apartment, whatever Senior did or didn't do in those final moments, he was still somebody's dad, and the people who loved him are still carrying that. His memory has 157 candles lit for him online, and no formal obituary, just a name, a date, and a city. The whole family is sitting with something that cannot be undone. The grandmother who called 911 within minutes of it happening. The grandfather who was jolted awake by gunshots and came out to find his granddaughter-in-law crying on the stairs. Kimberly, who made a choice to bring her sons with her that afternoon because she was scared to face Senior alone and has to live with how that decision ended. The younger kids who were right there in that apartment and had to run out into the hallway while all of this was happening around them. What do you think about the court's decision? Drop your thoughts in the comments and click on one of the cards to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.